Hello and welcome to another episode review. Today I'm reviewing the 22nd episode of Beavis and Butthead's third season, or the 53rd episode overall, titled True Crime. In this episode, Beavis and Butthead find a ATM machine inside of a bank. They go up to the ATM and realize there's a card sticking up. Butthead wants to type a word, but then Beavis pushes the card in, and then it tells him to enter the password. So then Butthead asks if he could spell a word, and then Beavis types balls on the terminal, and then it says, "1 moment, please," and then it says, "Thank you." And then they get all this money out of the card, and then the machine says, "Thank you for using First Homeowners." And then they scoop up as much money as they can and run home. Back at the house, they watch TV and they wonder if they should buy something with the money they got. And then on the TV, it shows a parody of America's Most Wanted called America's Most Hated. Two people talk about how there's these criminals who are clearly Beavis and Butthead stealing from one of the bank tellers. Then Bob, one of the people who works on that show, interviews Michael Jordan, who says that how did they know what I was a pro at? How did they know it was balls? And then a cleaning lady is then interviewed and says, well, one of them was a 30-year-old fellow who was kept scratching his butt. And then as she says this, Butthead scratches his own butt. And then there's a parody of, well, before that, they show pencil sketches of what Beavis and Butthead look like. Fun fact, these pencil sketches are recycled from the season 2 episode Heroes. If you were able to catch that reference, well done. Next is a parody of a current affair, but it's instead called an undercurrent affair. These two people are talking about how they witnessed a crime being committed, and then they show a reenactment of what happens. Butthead's actor is, I'm not sure what he is, but I can say that Beavis' actor's name is Travis. And they didn't even get the laugh down correctly. But then they put on rubber gloves, use a wrench and a crowbar on the ATM machine, scoop up the money, and drive away in a convertible car. Finally, there's a parody of Cops called Coppers. And in this show, the cops are loading a van with tear gas and guns, and then they drive down the neighborhood as Bad Boys, the theme song for Cops, plays. They drive through what looks like their neighborhood. Beavis and Butthead see this and are like, "Whoa, that's our neighborhood. I've been there." And then you hear one of the leaders saying that they have to take the big one down first, which is Butthead. And then they run at the door with the battering ram and not try and hit it. They realize what's going on, but they're clueless. And then the 4 cops swarm the house, detain them, and throw them straight to the ground while handcuffing them as Bad Boys plays again. The music videos featured are as follows: Ice Ice Baby by Vanilla Ice, Man in the Box by Alice in Chains, Demolition Man by Grace Jones, and Hay Fever by Trashcan Sinatras. I think all the music video segments in this episode are pretty funny, but if I had to pick a favorite one of their commentary, it would probably have to be Man in the Box by Alice in Chains, because when Beavis sees the singer in a fence, he sings about when he was younger, he had no sense and stood next to an electric fence, and it shocked him so bad. The song he sings at that part really got under my skin in a funny way, because I didn't think Beavis would actually sing that. But before we continue, there's an error, and there's also a little detail. The error is that the bank they get the money from is called National Homeowners Savings and Loan. But the bank teller says, "Thank you for using First Homeowners." So did you notice that? I'll say it again. The front of the bank says National Homeowners Savings and Loan. But the bank machine, the ATM machine, says, "Thank you for using First Homeowners." See how that's an error? And during the music video for Demolition Man by Grace Jones, if you look in the background, you can actually see Beavis and Butthead's stash of money that they got earlier on in the story. So, No other music video in this segments in this episode actually align with the plot and the story, except for the Demolition Man by Grace Jones music video. IMDb gives Beavis and Butthead True Crime a 7.7 out of 10 rating. And I would probably have to say I give this one a 10 out of 10. Perfect score. It's a great episode. Definitely worth your time. If you really liked how they parodied different shows, then this is the best episode to watch. So there you go. Beavis and Butthead, True Crime, gets a 10 out of 10. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!